Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I don't do this program by myself.
No, my name is Mike Piwowarski. I'm coming to you live from the East Coast, the coast with the most, from the co-host with the most, here on The Rundown. 2A views, conservative news, and Craig, it's a special day.
It's Hump Day!
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
It's Hump Day.
Hump Day!
That's right, Mike. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is?
Guess what day it is?
That's right, folks. It is the day where we attempt to begin the weekend. Now, sometimes we're successful, sometimes not. But on the weeks where we are successful, it tends to be a very good week.
I've got a business meeting tomorrow morning at 10. I'm trying to figure out, do I just bring bourbon with me, or should I just have some on my breath when I go to the meeting?
Well, see, I actually started my weekend yesterday, seeing as how it was it was my birthday yesterday, so we had a very, very good time. I turned 35. Okay, all right, I have to admit, there's a 3 and there's a 5 involved. I'm not going to get hung up on the order.
What is it? Craig recently turned 40. He more recently turned 50, though.
Exactly. Or I could say I celebrated the 22nd anniversary of my 21st birthday.
Excuse me, I was told there wouldn't be any math today.
Oh, wow. Okay, no, wait. My 32nd anniversary. Dang. Look.
There you go.
Wow. Okay. Well, that was the Maker's 46 talking right there.
Yep. Oh, again with the numbers.
Again with the numbers. Anyway, I had a very good time. Hung out with my brother. The only time you will ever catch me hanging out with a Democrat on my special day is with my brother.
Gotcha. Were you guys wearing your birthday suits?
Under our clothes, yes.
Okay, just checking. I don't know if you had something special planned.
Yes, under our clothes, we had our birthday suits.
Yeah, and Craig knows why I did not acknowledge it yesterday on the show. So that's just there's enough. Yeah. Enough there.
No worries. Anyway, good time was had by all. We had a great time. And it was, by the way, it was also election day here in California, which
it was.
It is usually a bad sign for folks here in California. Right. It's a reminder that, once again, we are in the belly of the beast, behind enemy lines, or as I like to say, behind the Iron Curtain of communism, otherwise known as the Sierras.
Yeah. Yes, that's where you are. But how does happen to be? How did it roll? How did it roll? How did it play out? What happened?
Well, here's the deal. Republicans didn't do as bad as they normally do. A lot of the candidates that I supported, did not make it. But the one candidate that I'm working with actually is making it to the runoff, which I am quite happy about. That would be Tamika Hamilton, California Congressional District 6. Yes, go Tamika. Yes, we are going to kick Ami Bera's arse.
Tamika. Go girlfriend. Right. Go Tamika.
Serious, man. I'm serious. I'm selling them on the idea. Look, it's gonna be Ami. They're gonna be like Ami Bera. I'm gonna be like Ami who?
Yeah.
Because literally, dude has done nothing. But anyway, I digress.
Ami loves some goat. Ami loves some goat.
Who from Whoville? Ami who from Whoville. There you go. By the way, folks, hey, however you are enjoying the show, whether you're watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, or on Rumble, or on Spotify, or you're listening to us, once again, on Spotify, or iHeartRadio, or Apple Podcast, or Google Podcast, do us a favor. Share, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends, by the way, to do the same. Tell them this is the place where the cool conversation is being had, where we're talking about political news, we're talking about gun news, and we're doing it from the everyday man's perspective, helping y'all understand this stuff. Right?
Right here. This is where we do it.
Yes, sir. Okay, let's get into it because we have one extra topic, so we can't do too much piddling around. Yes, right. I added one more because I had to talk about the fact that the San Francisco District Attorney, Mr. Chesa Boudin, or Jethro Boudin, however you want to refer to him, has been recalled in San Francisco. Folks, this is the second recall of left-wing leftists in the city of San Francisco this year, right? First, they recalled 3 school board members who were more interested in renaming their schools than actually getting students back in school. And now they've recalled the DA, who basically who had decided that he was more interested in he was more interested in well, what's the word I'm looking for? Sucking up to criminals than actually enforcing the law. And so now he has been recalled. That is a sign of hope for the city of San Francisco and California. Sign of hope. I'm not holding out hope, but it's still a sign of positive things.
Yeah, now that Boudin's gone, I mean, that's it. He's out, right? So there's no waiting for. And I want to make sure I understand your guys' rules of elections out there. Now that he's been recalled, there's no waiting for the next one to come in before he leaves office. He's just like, pack your stuff and get out, right?
Pack your stuff and go. Don't let the doorknob hit you, where the good Lord split you.
That's wonderful. Hey, let me see that video again real quick. I don't know if you know the woman's comments that you guys can't hear what they're saying. I'm going to tell you what they say. She's saying, "You guys, you don't even understand." And she's like, what about me? You never think about me. This man right here, he's my meal ticket. Where am I supposed to go? So that's what she's saying. So,
well, she's upset.
She's pretty aggressive.
She's upset because people are now going to just be able to, she's not going to be able to just walk into Walgreens and just snatch stuff off the shelf while she's riding her bike.
That's it. Exactly right. Exactly right.
So anyway, just so you guys know, there's also an effort to recall the district attorney there in Los Angeles, California, who is another George Soros-funded leftist. In Sacramento County, it's funny because the George Soros-funded leftist who's running in Sacramento County is getting walloped by a guy who nobody knows who this dude is. He's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat, but he's definitely not George Soros-funded. And he is just a whoppener. Because guess what? People don't have faith that Democrats are interested in enforcing the law. Now, the other challenge is in Sacramento County, we've got a guy running for sheriff who looks like he's going to win, who once again is also an anti-gun leftist. So it's going to be real interesting to see what happens where I'm at in Sacramento County with our concealed carry permits. Because the sheriff who's there now, he literally he went from 250 concealed carry permits to over 10,000. So it's going to be interesting to see what if the policy changes under the new sheriff.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, we'll see. You have to hope. You have to get to this guy ahead of time. Let him know.
Well, I know him personally, so I'm gonna have to. I know, dude. I'm not a fan, but I know him.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure he hears your voices on the campaign trail. Yeah,
there you go.
He's got to make it part of his. You have to make him address the issue during the campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's looking like he's going to win, which is kind of sad.
Right.
But it is what it is. Anyway, Chesa Boudin, use out.
Bye-bye.
Folks, enforce the law. I'm hoping that district attorneys and sheriffs all across the country see this and realize, maybe it would be better to be, as opposed to being woke, how about I just enforce the law? How about that? Not a bad idea.
Well, isn't that the opposite of woke?
That's the opposite of woke.
Is it a law and order, right?
Right. Well, hey, talk about abiding by the law. One of the things, Mike, that they always kind of point to us, Republicans, or at least gun folks, whenever we comply with the law, the Democrats always get mad at us, right? Well, there's a Republican named Earl Weber who, he's running in a district where he's going to have a very hard time winning. I've met Earl. He's a nice dude. But this was classic, and I love this. So a congressman came up with the idea. He said, look, I want to introduce legislation that will require a 1,000% tax on AR-15s. So Mr. Weber basically said, okay, here's what we'll do. Tell you what, you sell the AR-15 with a fun-sized Snickers. You charge $950 for the fun-sized Snickers and $1 for the AR-15. That way, if you charge 1,000% tax, it's only $10, right?
Right.
The point being is what he's saying is, look, if people want to get around the law, by complying with the law, they can in fact do that. And Newsweek, it's funny because they actually, I mean, literally, this was just something that was said as a comment. It was a passing comment, and the Newsweek has lost their minds. They've lost their minds over it. But I just want to say, this is the sort of ingenuity that Republicans come up with. That in order to comply with California with stupid gun laws, these are the sorts of things that gun owners come up with.
Yeah, listen, true. Unfortunately, it won't hold up to a judicial muster. This has been tried many times before in the gambling arena, in the prostitution arena, Craig. This is what used to go on. They used to come in and they would do the I would like to purchase a pencil and for $100, and I'd also like to tell you how much I like the Rams this weekend. They would do something like that. So they'd buy the $100 pencil, right, and then give the guy the $100 and say, and if they ever got caught, they couldn't say, "Oh, you're gambling illegally." He's like, "No, I just bought a $100 pencil. That's all." And they would do the same thing. At one point, I know that the courts were tied up with this over prostitution as well. No, I didn't buy sex. I bought a pencil from her, and that's all the transaction that took place. So, it was just funny to see him come up with this. It is nice. It is good. And this tells me that this is a guy who's never been involved in any sort of weird criminal enterprise before and didn't know that this is the kind of thing that had been deemed illegal in many jurisdictions. But it's nice to see trying to find a way around the incredible tyranny of government power there in California. However, it's going to need a little legal review, but it's good to see they're trying to fight it. Yeah.
Well, but what's interesting is that Newsweek actually wrote about it. That's what is astounding to me, is that Newsweek actually thought it newsworthy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and they did, and it also shows me that there's nobody at Newsweek doing any reviews of these stories either before they go to print. They're just like, oh, Newsweek has literally become the weekly world news, is what they've become.
Yeah,
they just sensationalize it, do it. Snickers for guns. That's what they're. I'm surprised the title wasn't Snickers for guns.
There you go, Snickers for guns.
Yep.
All right. We talked. No, actually, I think we talked off air about this yesterday.
We did on air.
Oh, we did talk about it on air.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Dude, this is hilarious that they actually decided that they're going to now beat up on Mr. DeSantis.
Spin on this. The whole story on this one is the spin, right?
Right. So they're talking about how DeSantis bullied Special Olympics into betraying its own athletes. Now, Mike, I just thought that, once again, this was hilarious, that this was the take that the LA Times decided to go with. For those of you who are unaware, DeSantis basically made it so that, look, you cannot require your athletes to have gotten the vaccine in order to participate in the Special Olympics. As Mike pointed out, there are a number of the athletes who basically, in many cases, could not get the vaccine because, or at least their doctors recommended that they not get the vaccine in order to deal with the corona cold, which is pretty much about what it is right now, is the corona cold. And he wanted them to be able to participate in the Special Olympics. And he said, look, if you mandate that they do it, Mike, what was it what was it? It was a fine, right? So it was a fine that they had to deal with. And that fine.
I'm sorry, Craig. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I lost my mic for a moment there. I was trying to get you back.
Oh, okay. So it was a fine. Now, how big was the fine that they had to deal with?
$27.5 million. And
Wow.
the way the law is written, and it was written up last year when DeSantis was tired of all this nonsense where businesses were saying you have to have a vaccination, right? So they wrote into law that if you require somebody to have a vaccination, the state's going to fine you $5,000. Well, they figured on the number of athletes and the number of supporters that were coming to town with the Special Olympics. They did the math. It was like something like 5,000. I'm sorry, it was the $5,000 fine per, and that just added up to, $27.5 million. And so they went to hand them this fine, and they finally the Special Olympics backed down the Thursday before the event. The event's going on right now. It was this this past Thursday. So it was good to see. And Craig, like we said, this isn't, if you're coming to the state and you have the vaccine, nobody cares. Okay, that's your own thing, but you can't mandate it. And like you were just saying, there's many athletes, because of the other illnesses that they have. Remember, we're talking about Special Olympics, all right? So whether it's Down syndrome, lupus, whatever it happens to be, some of the doctors have said, listen, I it's not a vaccine. I want mixed with the other medications they're on, or it would conflict with the whatever ailment they already have. Some of them have it, Craig. No issue whatsoever. That's not the problem. It's mandating those that they were trying to mandate those to get the vaccine where their doctors have already told them no.
Well, and so here's a quote from the New England Journal of Medicine. If diagnosed with COVID-19, patients with intellectual disabilities were more likely to be admitted to the hospital and were more likely to experience mortality due to COVID-19 following admission. So their whole point is, well, they're more likely to get sick. No, they are not more likely to get sick. In fact, we'll put it to you this way. If the chance of them getting sick, if anyone getting sick is 0.0001%, their likelihood is 0.00012.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I just think that the point that the spin once again that they took on it, in my opinion, once again is it's all about advocacy. It's not about journalism.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that's what the LA Times did here. They decided to turn this around and make Ron DeSantis the evil man, rather than Ron DeSantis, the man who stood up for Special Olympics athletes, whose medical professionals said, no, they don't need the vaccine in this state.
Exactamundo. All right, moving right along. Okay, okay, this was an interesting one. I saw this tweet yesterday. And basically a guy was commenting on the fact that we basically was saying that well, hold on, I'll show you the tweet, and then I'll show you what this state senator. So a guy named Brian Stanton, he is the Texas House of Representatives. He said, I would never take my children to a drag show. I know Speaker Dade Phelan and my Republican colleagues wouldn't either. I will be seeking legislation to issue. So basically he wants to make it so that you can't take kids to drag shows, right? Or ban drag shows in the presence of minors, right?
Okay.
Well, we have a representative now in California. By the way, his name he's Senator Scott Wiener.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know this guy.
Scott Wiener.
I know this guy.
This guy.
Yep.
This guy, yeah. So he he basically proposed, tell you what, let's have Drag Queen 101. Let's make it a part of the K-12 curriculum. Attending a drag queen story time will satisfy the requirement. Now, some people actually reported this as news. I thought it was hilarious that dude would even make the recommendation. But here's the thing, Mike. It wouldn't put me past. I would not put it past him. I sure as heck would not put it past him to actually introduce this as legislation.
Oh no, yeah, that's and it's the Wiener Boy. That's what we called him, Wiener Boy. Listen. Oh look, here's a gentleman. Here's a man who does not want his children exposed to whether it's straight up old school drag queen, entertainment, or some sort of transgender dressing entertainment. He doesn't want under 18 exposed to that, which goes along with what like what Governor DeSantis did, right, in Florida, where we took that out of the school system, so we couldn't be teaching alternative theories to kids from kindergarten to third grade. It sounds like a Republican in California wanted this, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. So we're going to force drag queenism to children there in K through 12 in California.
This is our state senator Scott Wiener at a pride parade. just so you have an idea of who we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, that's Wiener. Yeah, we know. Yep. That's the Wiener boy.
Bad stuff. But folks, I'm telling you, this is the sort of stuff that I would not be surprised to see in legislation in California. And that's the guy who would introduce it.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Now, listen, I could see if this guy came around and said, listen, we want to, enact a law to make sure that, drag queens don't have hate crimes committed against them or
Yep.
something like that. All right. Nobody should have a hate crime committed against them because of, what or who they are. But this guy's trying to say, I want to protect, my children, other children from this. And then this guy comes around and he's creating a law to create a law, to oh, look, we have to protect you're going beyond protecting the rights of individuals. You're not right now. You're clogging up the time. You're clogging up the legislature with your BS kind of nonsense because you're so woke. You got to walk through the streets wearing a leather leotard or whatever the hell that was. I don't know.
Right.
I didn't
Well,
look close.
Mike, and this is the thing. What it comes down to is this: you do you, and you should have a legal right to do you, as long as you doing you doesn't force me to honor you.
Right.
Right. As long as I don't have,
Right.
you can do and be whatever it is you want to be, but you can't force me to honor that and to celebrate that. And that's where they don't seem to understand is that they've gone from the idea of just acceptance, and now what they want is they want you to celebrate it. And that's just wrong.
Yeah, no, it's gone. Listen, and it's coming out of California, right? We know that.
Right.
Look at any TV show. Watch any TV show now. I think 50% of all characters are either gay or trans now. It's just
Or non-binary.
it's some kind of California rule.
They are somewhere on the alphabet spectrum.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
California is the place you want to be.
That's right. Dice Clay was right. I mean, the man was a prophet.
He was definitely a prophet and profitable.
Yep. Yeah,
All right.
profitable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, you shared this next story with Seth Meyers. Why don't you go ahead and introduce this and tell us about AR-15. I don't give a.
Yeah. So listen, I used to like Seth. He was a pretty neutral guy when it came to politics. By neutral, I mean he would poke fun at both sides, right? That was his job. Now he's taken the Jimmy Kimmel route and trying to be all things liberal all the time. So Representative Bobbitt there, she made a comment about AR-15s, right? She was having the conversation. That's what's in the news right now. And Seth Meyers called it the assault rifle 15, the AR standing for assault rifle. Anybody that's ever paid attention to you or me, Craig, or anything with firearms knows the AR stands for Armor Light Rifle, which was the design where it came from. It was actually Armor Light Rifle patent number 15 is where it started. But he called it assault rifle, and one of the other senators called it assault rifle, and she said, "Listen, if you have somebody that calls it an assault rifle instead of if they think the AR stands for assault rifle, you need to get them out of office." And his response was, "Oh, thank you for correcting me, but we don't give an F." So what it shows to me is, Craig, now that it's 100% acceptable for the media to hijack the story, put their spin on it, and report it as if it was news, and expect, well, they do. They expect the rest of the country to follow along and believe it. Craig, if this was an election cycle and we had one candidate wanted some airtime and another candidate wanted some airtime, they'd be entitled to equal airtime under federal law. Mm-hmm. However, if it's just a regular TV show or it's a late night TV show, they can decide to go 100% anti-Constitution, right, anti-America, anti-Second Amendment, and that's okay. And the other side doesn't get the opportunity to counter it, except for programs like this or Arms Room Radio or Coffee with Craig, anything like those. That's the 1% of the media we do control. They get to do what they want. The big media gets to do what they want and control the message. And here we have to sit and accept it like, oh, this is normal. It's okay.
Well, and the point I think that she is making here, and this is the point that Seth Meyers doesn't care about, is it's like, you don't even know what it's called, right?
Correct.
If you don't even know what it's called, then that you clearly don't understand the technology. You don't understand the law surrounding it. Therefore, it's ignorant for you to comment on it when you don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's the point that she was trying to make is, dude, you're so dumb, you don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, the facts are not important to them. We know that, Craig. When they get
Right.
into their rant and they start going,
Right.
it doesn't matter. I don't need your facts. I know that I don't like assault rifles. That's it.
Right.
It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter.
Right. Facts don't matter. But here's the thing: when it comes to actually making law, here's the thing: when you're a late night host or you're a comedian or something like that, you're right. Facts don't really matter as long as you're funny. Now, by the way, Seth Meyers, you're not funny, especially on this. You're not funny because anybody who knows what they're talking about knows that you're an idiot, that you're ignorant, and you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
And that's the problem. But you don't get to make law and be equally as ignorant. But that's what happens. People who know nothing about guns, who know nothing about AR-15s, who know nothing about gun laws or any of it, want to pass laws telling you what you can and cannot use to defend yourself and your family. No.
Right.
No, you don't get to do that. You don't get to do that and pretend like you know what you're talking about.
Examples, Craig. I believe it was New Jersey that passed a law that all firearms have to have the fingerprint technology in them. That way it would prevent anybody from getting shot with a gun that wasn't the owner of the gun. Unfortunately, they passed that law and said, we're going to make it enforceable in 10 years. In 10 years, it has to be enforceable. And that 10 years came 2 years ago, by the way, because the the New Jersey legislators that came up with this idea saw it in a movie and said, oh, that looks good. Why don't we do that? And somebody said, well, it's not real yet. They go, well, we'll give them 10 years to do it. Okay. Craig, they make gun laws. Like if I were to say to you, Craig, to get rid of car pollution, you have to start using the transporter system within 10 years.
I think that's the law in
Passing
California.
a law on something they saw in a movie.
I honestly, no, not honestly, but I think that's the law in California now, just so you know.
The transporters? Yeah.
Transporter technology in 10 years. That's by 2035, I think.
There you go. Oh, yeah.
Hey, we're getting rid of all combustion engines. No, they're not going to be able to sell combustion engines by 2035 in California. So would not surprise me that they're looking forward to transporter technology.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be careful though. You don't want to scramble your molecules. That's bad.
But no, they actually in California they actually did pass the thing where they did pass the thing. Well, the microstamping, right? Microstamping is a thing, which by the way is a technology that does not work, but it's mandated now in California. And new firearms, new model firearms, in order to be approved for sale in California, have to have it.
Yeah. Which
is why we're still on. While everyone else has Glock Gen 5s, we're still stuck on Gen 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to come up with some future technology from the movie. There you go.
There you go.
Exactly.
But once again, these are people who don't care. They don't care, so they don't know. And they don't know, so they don't care. They're like, am I gonna get in the news? Am I gonna get a camera pushed in front of my face if I propose this legislation? Yes?
Right.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
That's actually all they really care about.
Right.
All right, well, let's move on to our parting shot for today. All right, so we all know about Build Back Better. We all know that, quite frankly, here's the funny part. So you hear Biden right now is claiming, I've cut the deficit more than any other president. Now, mind you, he doesn't say that he was cutting the deficit from the billions of dollars that he spent the year before, right?
Right.
He didn't say that the deficit he's cutting was his own. He actually proposed and put forth a record deficit, and now he's cutting it because, well, he didn't spend as much money as the year before, right? And then on top of that, you add to that the fact that if he had gotten what he wanted, which was the Build Better Bolshevik bill, which would have spent billions more dollars, then he would have once again set a record in increasing the deficit. And then the last thing that I'll add to it is the fact that we are now dealing with massive inflation as a result of the massive borrowing and spending that we did, right? So now our economy is just, anyway, a dollar ain't worth what a dollar used to be. So that being said, if Build Back Better were a swing set, so for those of you who are just listening, it's basically a swing set that's attached to a brick wall. So Yeah, if you go to swing, you're gonna hit smack dab into that brick wall when you come back, and that's where
The
we are
only
right now. That's
reason
where our economy is.
the only reason, Craig, I know that this image is false and this is not real is because the Democrats don't know anything about building a wall.
Actually, okay, so here's what's interesting. So you know that actually in Seattle now, they're proposing, because of all the homeless, they're actually proposing putting a wall around the parks to kind of keep the homeless out. Although it's funny, they're like, well, it's not going to be like Trump's wall. It's only going to be like 4 feet tall with, maybe we'll put some wrought iron on it as well, make it look all nice.
Why don't we do this? Instead of putting the fence up to keep them out, let's put the fence up and keep them in. Then we'll know where they are. We can put a lock on the door. We don't have to worry about it. And then we'll build a new park next door.
Well, but then they can't sell. Then they can't go to the. Then the homeless people, or then the people in Seattle there can't go to the park, because the homeless are gonna.
We'll build a new park. That's what I'm saying. We'll just build a new
There you go.
park. That'll be their correctional facility park, and then
There
we'll
you
have
go.
our own park. Yeah.
Well, but it's funny to me that you have liberals talking about building a wall
Yeah, I
to
know,
keep
right?
to keep those who don't really have a right to be there out.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Yeah, we had a problem here at one point in Florida where they had the illegal immigrants would collect at the morning what do you call them, hardware stores, right? So they'd be at the big box hardware stores, and these guys would wander around the parking lot. So they wanted to have a designated area for them to stay. So they put lines on the ground, where they had to stand, and then they didn't stay within the lines on the ground. So then they wanted to put up a fence. And I'm like, do people realize what you're doing? Right? These are liberals, by the way, who have no problem with illegal immigration until, of course, they're at their, in their parking lot outside their store, and their solution was, to put a fence up and put them behind the fence. Like, really? Why didn't we put that fence about Texas? Why didn't we do it there?
Right, somewhere along the Texas-Mexican border. What about that? What about? And I tell you what, here's what we'll do. We'll call it a wall.
That's it. Yeah.
And make them pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just this weird little example, this little diorama of what was going on the border right here in our local Home Depot parking lot. We'll paint a line. They'll stay on the other side. No, they won't. Put up a fence. They'll stay on the other side. No, they won't. It's just, it happened right here.
Unless there's someone there to enforce it, not going to happen.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah.
All right, Mike, it's about that time. How about a quick shout out to our sponsors?
Let's say hey to our good friends at Gorilla Machining, Grid Defense, the California Republican Assembly, and USCombatGear.com.
Folks, these are all fine folks who give us the opportunity to be able to come to you. So do us a favor, go to them. Their links are in the description to this video or the description of this podcast. Check them out. If you like what they're offering, kick them down a few dollars and make sure you tell them that the guys over at The Rundown sent you. Support them as they support us, supporting you. That's how it works. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today. We will be back tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday, having a good time and enjoying. You guys enjoy your Wednesday. What's left of it anyway. Take care.